by the local tourney and get matched with my dame. Just one more goat bounce and I've got the game. Then on her turn she plays shift Donald Duck. Gosh, it seems that I've run out of luck.
Come on now, let's play some more Kana. With such a sugar rush, it's a nirvana. We'll rip a booster pack or four, start food fights and roast a smorgasbord of Lord Kana.
It's time for S'more Awards.
S'more Awards. You look great over there.
So do you. You look so spiffy.
Looking sharp.
Wow.
Wicked sharp, kid.
Did you polish those shoes?
You bet I did.
Wow.
You only get to celebrate a celebration once.
Yes, you only get to have a celebreception once.
Yeah. We're celebrating the end of Shimmering Skies, which is, of course, in itself a celebration.
Yes.
So it's, yeah, celebreception.
Celebrating a celebration.
That's what it's all about here tonight as we look back at Shimmering Skies, all of the superlative cards from that set. We're so excited to be here to see the award ceremony.
Welcome to the third ever S'more Awards. I'm Katie.
And I'm Brett.
And we are welcoming you this evening, not to the S'morekana Cafe, but we are coming to you live from the New Hampshire Living Room Theater.
The whole place has been transformed.
Oh, it looks beautiful in here.
It's certainly not a regular living room with some podcasting equipment on a kitchen table.
Of course not. There is a chocolate fountain.
There are folks in evening wear milling about.
Ice sculptures.
Uplighting on all of the walls.
Dole Whips coming from the ceiling.
They're piping Dole Whips through the sprinkler system here.
Yep.
It's the greatest thing that you can imagine.
It's the best day of our lives.
Well, what are we going to do while we wait? Because we have some waiting to do before these awards kick off. We're doing lots of waiting right now. How are we filling our Lorcana time?
Oh my gosh, we're doing so much waiting. We have to wait so long for the next set. Azurite Sea comes out in 2 weeks, and it feels like it's 10 weeks away, approximately. We've been playing a lot of fun decks.
Yeah, trying out some underused cards that we maybe wanted to use at the beginning of the set and just never got around to it.
Like all of the dwarfs and the knights and everything. I've been dying to play those for so long.
And you finally made a Snow Knight and the Seven Dwarfs deck.
Yes, thank goodness.
Speaking of Snow Knight, funny story about that card.
Okay.
Our good pal Johnny
Oh, yes.
goes to a set champ.
As we all do.
Gets paired with an 8-year-old.
As you do.
This 8-year-old is very excited about their Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Knight deck.
Can't blame him.
And it gets to be turn 5, and this child says, "Now I get to play my favorite card,
Oh, boy.
Snow White, or as I like to call her, Snow Knight."
Oh, it's so cute.
Plops down that card with the verve of a child. The excitement is palpable from that side of the table. They're just absolutely jazzed to be playing their favorite card, this cool princess all decked out in armor.
She is very cool.
Wicked cool card.
Not often seen in decks.
Johnny now has to figure out how to respond to this new threat on the board. Fortunately for him, playing Ruby Sapphire, he runs a few copies of a little card called Madame Medusa.
Oh, boy.
He exerts 6 ink, plays Madame Medusa, informs the child that their favorite card has been banished from the game,
Yes.
and proceeds to wipe the floor.
Poor child.
Fast forward to the end of the tournament, and this poor child is in tears,
Oh, my gosh.
crying into the crook of their father's arm, saying, "I stink. I stink at the game."
It's so sad.
Johnny's trying to assuage their grief and say, you played really well. I just had the cards that I needed. You're doing a great job. It doesn't really help.
Ugh.
And so, folks, I think we do, in fact, need a league or events that are catered to children for this game.
Yes. Now, it's funny looking back on it just because Johnny is such a nice guy and he obviously was trying so hard not to hurt this kid's feeling, but still give him a fair game. And it's like the worst possible outcome for the kid to then start crying, because it's a feeling that I'm sure many people have had when they play against a kid where they're like, okay, I don't want to take it easy on them. You know, it is a set championship. We're all playing for prizes that we want to get. So you also aren't just going to lose to a kid just to make them feel good. And then when you beat them, you really don't want them to be upset. It's really hard. And it's so sad and so funny that happened to Johnny of all people.
Snow White, or as I like to call her, Snow Knight, Madame Medusa.
Boom. She's dead now.
Get your favorite card out of here, kid.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I agree that I think it would be nice to have a separate, event for kids. But I also like that Lorcana doesn't have anything like that. And that if you're a 10-year-old who's really good at playing and wants to be competitive with adults and, can handle it emotionally and mentally, then you can. I like that. I don't personally want it to change. I can see how it could be valuable in cases like that, but, doesn't bother me.
I don't think it should be a prohibition from children playing. I love that it brings families together and they can all sit down and play the same game. And there are a lot of kids out there who are incredibly good at Lorcana at super young ages. And I mean, just on the other side of the coin, I had an opponent in one of the side events in Seattle, and during our match, he got word that his young daughter, had reached the top 8 at a set champ and gotten a Mirabelle. And this man showed me a picture of his daughter holding up her card, and he had tears in his eyes. He was so proud of her.
Oh.
So you don't get stories like that, I think, if you change too much about the way things are run. But I think it would be great to have some particular events that are catered to children.
Right. It couldn't hurt.
I know some folks have taken the charge and organized a few of these across the country, but they're definitely few and far between, and I'd love to see more of them. What else are we waiting for? What else are we playing around with?
Oh my goodness. Well, so we made our Snow White deck, the night deck with all the dwarfs. We also brought in Donald Duck Pie Slinger into a deck.
I really, really needed to make Donald Duck Pie Slinger into a featured component of a deck. We traded for a foil playset of that card. So we blinged out our Pie Slinger deck. So I'm trying him out with Maximus and with, that Gaston who has his cost reduced for each damage character. And another card that's been really surprising me pleasantly is Healing Decanter. So I'm playing the Mulan, the Gothel, and the Beast that all come into play with damage on them. And then I'm running some Healing Decanters. And it just helps you get some serious value out of all your cards. I'm also running Teeth and Ambitions, and of course Hydra. Hydra also pairs really well with another card that I think is pretty fun, Break Free.
Ooh, Break Free was really cool this weekend when we were playing games.
Break Free is a one-cost action in the ruby ink color that deals a damage to one of your characters and then gives it rush and +1 strength. So if you ping your Hydra with it, you get to then ping an opponent's character, rush your Hydra into something, and then use that damage from the rush and to deal more damage. So it was a really fun little interaction, and it works well with things like Donald Duck, get him up to 10 strength for Maximus. Just a fun little card.
Definitely. We're also waiting for a sequel to a beloved Disney movie.
Make way, make way.
Moana, it's time you two. The village of Moana 2 is all Moana needs.
Matu Nui.
Oh, that's what they should have called Moana 2.
Tamatua.
Motuna.
Chief Tui.
Oh, it was right there all along. It should have been Moana 2, Chief Tui. Oh, no, sorry. It should have been Moana, Chief Tui.
Yeah.
Well, we'll tell Disney about that. We're very excited for Moana 2 up in here.
Just waiting for movies, waiting for cards, waiting for our next Disney World trip.
Yes, indeed we are. We're going to Disney World with my fam in February.
Over your school's February break.
Yes, indeed.
And part of that process is picking out all of the restaurants that we want to eat at well in advance so that we can secure reservations. It's one of our favorite things to do.
Yes, it's so exciting. We have a whole spreadsheet, It's going to be a great time. We will talk about all of our tips for planning and the best restaurants to go to and all that jazz, I'm sure, in a future episode.
That sounds like a really fun segment. And you did hear right. We do have a spreadsheet for our desired eating locations at Disney World. We take our jobs as Disney/snack/Lorcana crossover content creators very seriously.
Very seriously. That's why we're dressed in black tie tonight.
We would be remiss if we were focusing on any one of those categories too much.
Exactly.
So we need to spread the love, make sure that we're always on top of our Disney/snack knowledge as well as our Disney/Lorcana knowledge. Oh, I hear the fanfare. I think they're getting started in there.
Wow, live trumpets? Let's go.
Live from the New Hampshire Living Room Theater, it is once again time for the S'more Awards Shimmering Skies edition with your hosts, Rebecca and Bartleby.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the third ever S'more Awards. We are so honored to be with you this evening. I'm chuffed to be joined by my dear friend, Bartleby.
And it is my great honor to be alongside the esteemed Rebecca once again to kick off this wonderful celebration of another Lorcana set.
There are so many lovely faces in the crowd this evening.
Our regimen of presenters is beyond compare.
The creme de la creme.
The finest Lorcana content creators will grace your presence today and announce the victors of the Shimmering Skies S'more Awards.
And may I say, Bartleby, I am so thrilled to be here listening to all of the awards this evening with you.
Rebecca, that is a very polite and therefore dignified thing to say in public. I applaud you once again for your unparalleled decorum. It is your finest attribute.
Thank you.
Wow, this is so exciting. I can't believe it. We're here.
I'm so glad they're back.
What are they talking about? All the awards presenters are going to be content creators?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
They're going to be other Lorcana content creators, many of whom we saw in Texas or met or played against or heard of from other content creators.
Or we watch them all of the time or listen to their podcasts.
Yeah, so it's so thrilling that they're all here in the New Hampshire theater with us.
Oh, I think the first award is starting right now.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, look, it's the Illuminateers.
Oh boy.
Hey, Lorcana fans. I'm Liam from the Illuminateers. You know, in the food world, there are very few snacks as cool as an ice cream bar. Just like in the Lorcana world, there are very few cards as cool as the nominees for our next award, Golden Mickey's Premium Ice Cream Bar Award for the coolest card. In this category, your nominees are Prince Naveen Ukulele Player, Elsa, the Fifth Spirit, Mother Gothel Unwavering Schemer, Robin Hood Sharpshooter, and Mufasa Ruler of Pride Rock. And the Ice Cream Bar Award goes to Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock. What's cooler than recurring ink from your inkwell? Congratulations to all our nominees and to our winner.
Wow, big thank you to the Illuminateers for presenting that award.
The first family of Lorcana, as I've seen them referred to.
Yes, incredible content.
That is a really cool card.
Yes, well deserved. Mufasa rocks. Like, period.
The art rocks. He's all surrounded by these blue mystical lines. He does a crazy effect.
Yes. Now, you know, all of these cards are great, which is why they were all nominated. I could have seen any of them winning this award. And Mufasa won it by a landslide.
Yeah, 55.2% of the vote for Mufasa. One of the biggest blowout runaway victories of the awards.
Yeah, the people have spoken. Mufasa is cool.
I think the more we talk about why it's cool, the cooler it gets.
Yeah, it's like a joke. When you talk about why a joke is funny, it gets funnier.
Yeah, same thing with cool.
It all works.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, aka Ellie.
And I'm Waylon from Sprinkle of Ink, here to present the Electric Ice Cube Award for the card with the best special effects.
Sprinkle of Ink has an awesome Twitch. They live stream Lorcana a few times a week. Really, really cool Twitch channel.
Love that Twitch content.
The nominees are Genie, Main Attraction, Anna, Diplomatic Queen, Maximus, Team Champion, Merlin, Intellectual Visionary, and Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock.
And the Electric Ice Cube Award goes to Anna, Diplomatic Queen.
Wow, I'm a big fan of this. I love that card.
This was a card that we both highlighted in our preview episode for Shimmering Skies. We were super excited about it, and it did find its place in a bunch of meta decks.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I think she'll continue being a staple in Lorcana. I'm excited to see her go even further.
We saw a few of these kind of choose one cards make their way into the game. She's the only one that has 3 options, though.
Yes, and those other cards don't see that much play. Camilo's got nothing on a Diplomatic Queen.
Yeah, and her flexibility, I think, is what really sent her over the top, that she could have a home in a discard strategy, but then also deal with troubling characters. I found that when I was playing against Emerald Steel this set, she was most annoying to me on the other side of the table when she was getting rid of a big character. You know, they'd run a 1-cost Diablo into my Tinkerbell and then banish her with Anna.
Exactly.
Mufasa was second in this category, close behind Anna. And yeah, he has, like we were just saying, he has special effects for sure.
Yes, a great card. A well-deserved second place as well. Oh, it's time for the next award.
Howdy folks, Rudros here from the Rudros TCG YouTube channel, here to present the Turkey Leg Award for Best Dumb Card. The nominees are Wreck-It Ralph, Admiral Underpants, Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom, Bonsai, Gluttonous Predator, Gaston, Pure Paragon, Arthur, King Victorious. And the Turkey Leg Award goes to Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom! Ah, the irony of a card with the words knowledge and wisdom in the title winning Best Dumb Card.
Thank you, Rudrose TCG.
Rudrose has awesome YouTube videos, deep dives into specific decks and states of the meta, a channel that you should definitely follow. That is a dumb card.
It's the most dumb. It's a card that someone plays it and they're like, oop, I get 2. And you go, okay, that's so dumb. It's as if there was a card in Lorcana that was like, you just play it and you get 20 lore. It's the same thing of like, I play the card, I got the points. It's like, okay, what?
It should say like, do I win now? Question mark. After the gain 2 lore.
Yes.
Gain 2 lore. Do I win now?
Is that the game now? Is that how it's played?
How many times have you lost to double Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom to have your opponent hit exactly 20?
A lot of times.
Way more times than you would think.
Yes.
It's so frustrating.
Too many times. Oh, it's uninkable. Okay, who cares? It doesn't matter. It still gets played.
You should have played around it.
Yeah, what?
You should have played around it.
How? Insane.
It's a cool card. I'm glad it exists. It introduces a new dimension to the game for sure. That kind of from hand race to your win condition kind of card. I think it's cool that it could potentially bring our meta towards lore reduction. Like, I think there's some cool lore reduction cards that don't see play, like, I don't know, Donald Duck Pie Slinger. So if Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom gets better, maybe Donald Duck Pie Slinger gets better, and then I don't mind it so much.
And I definitely love playing Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. It is fun when you get it in your hand and you're at 18 and you can just plunk it down and win the game. It does feel nice.
This was a really close category, pretty even split between all of the contenders.
Yeah, the big runner-up here was Bonsai Gluttonous Predator.
And not far behind that was Gaston Pure Paragon, a card that I think is wicked fun.
Yeah, we've been playing around with him a little bit lately with our fun decks.
Oop, somebody's on stage. Here we go.
Shh.
What's up, Illumineers? It's Mateus and Charlie from Inkborn Heroes, and we could not be more excited to be here to present to you the winner of the Golden S'more Award for the Best Combo Card.
And the nominees are Mirabel Madrigal, Family Gatherer, Anna, Mystical Majesty, Sugar Rush Speedway, Wreck-It Ralph, Demolition Dude, and Medal of Heroes. And the Golden S'more Award goes to Anna Mystical Majesty. Anna's ability is an awesome way to deal with those pesky ward characters, so you better watch out, Bucky. Oh, wait.
Happy questing!
Oh, heroes indeed. Thank you so much, Inkborn Heroes, for that golden s'more.
If you're looking for really fun YouTube content, the Inkborn Heroes look at starter decks and strategies about how to play them. They look at guides on how to play different meta decks. They do pack openings. They're super, super fun, and big Disney fans, we love their content. They also always post spoilers for all of the different cards as they come out and keep us informed about what things are going to be coming down the pipeline.
A great service for the community.
Anna taking home another award, but a different version of Anna.
I'm very happy for Anna on this evening. I think it's about time that she got some good representation in this game. We were begging for it at the beginning of this set. You know, when it all came out, we were really excited for it. And it's great to see that she's getting acknowledged for how cool her cards are.
Anna won 38.4% of the vote. The rest of the votes were pretty evenly split between the other contenders. I'm actually surprised that Anna took this one home. I wouldn't have thought that she would stand out amongst those other cards.
I agree. I think she gets poo-pooed a bit in conversations about cards. I think in casual conversations she tends to get forgotten or, underestimated.
The combo that she is maybe best known for being a part of is with Genie Main Attraction, the new legendary Genie that says your opponent's exerted characters can't ready as long as he's exerted. So if you do have the Genie on the board and, can exert him and then play Anna, then your opponent's board is entirely exerted and can't ready for their turn. So that is a pretty powerful combo if you can pull it off, and she's a card that could get even better in the future. She is Floodborn, so if there are more shift targets for her, she could improve in that way. It's really cool to see Anna taking this one home. I'm a big fan of some of these other cards, though, too. I'm excited for the possibilities of Sugar Rush Speedway in the new set, with the Sugar Rush finish line getting printed.
Yeah, we're once again holding out hope for locations in this next set. I certainly can see some possibilities for Sugar Rush Speedway in the future.
And I had some fun with Medal of Heroes in this set, too, trying to pull off a one-turn victory with Medal of Heroes and the Ariel who readies when you play an item. So I think that's a card that could absolutely find its way into a combo deck in the future.
Definitely. All right, here we go. Ooh, I know what this award is. Oh my gosh.
My fellow Illumineers, it's great to see so many of you tuning in to see how your vote fared in the S'more Awards. I am Lycos14 from the Sunflower Lumineers, and it is my pleasure to present the World Showcase Honorarium, also known as Best Location Card of Shimmering Skies.
Sunflower Lumineers are fairly new in the content creator world. They make a lot of great videos about the game and have really exciting insights.
Yeah, definitely give them a follow if you haven't yet.
The nominees are Rapunzel's Tower, The Library, Sugar Rush Speedway, Merlin's Cottage, and Seven Dwarfs Mine. And the World Showcase Honorarium Award goes to, cue the drum roll please, The Library, the poor man's Queen's Castle of Shimmering Skies, a gift for Belle and all of Amethyst players alike.
Wow! No surprise here.
Yeah, this was our biggest slam dunk of all of the awards.
Massive slam dunk. And I would not have guessed any less for The Library.
It won 75.5% of the vote. This is, in fact, the largest victory that any option has ever had in the S'more Awards voting.
Yeah, and no offense to The Library, but it really didn't have much competition in this set. The Library is definitely the one that has been getting the most talk. It's been getting the most play. It's been consistently good for a lot of people and different kinds of decks. It's a little more flexible than some of the other locations. Seven Dwarfs Mine was the runner-up, and that had only 12.9% of the votes. I would agree that that's probably the second best location this set. It was no surprise.
Rapunzel's Tower, in my opinion, is also not a bad location, having been torched by that in a game of the Seattle DLC playing Sapphire Steel. I know that if you're playing Sapphire Steel, you do not like to see a whole bunch of 2 lore questing characters all stacked up at the Rapunzel's Tower. So there are some other good options in the category, but yeah, the library is just so flexible. It finds such an easy home in so many different lists. So I see some potential for some of these other cards, but the library makes sense as a runaway victor. Oh, next award already. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Hey Lumineers, it's Rebecca Quests here, and what a night! I am so excited and honored to present the award for the Golden Popcorn Bucket. No Lumineer should be caught without one of these items, but we have to name a winner. The nominees for the Golden Popcorn Bucket Award are Queen Sensor Core, Amethyst Chromicon, Emerald Chromicon, Medal of Heroes, and Merlin's Carpet Bag. And the award goes to Emerald Chromicon!
Wow, thanks for that, Rebecca. Nobody knows how to present something like Rebecca. Very thankful that she was here at the S'more Awards with us, fresh off the DLCs.
Man, these other items are green with envy.
You could call them Emerald with envy. Do you get it because green and emerald are the same color?
Wow, we're so informative here on this podcast. Emerald Chromicon is an annoying card. Boy.
That is a card that we have seen in sealed or drafts or other limited formats too, and it is so incredibly annoying. You can't land anything. Anytime you clear something, it's like, oh, and yours also goes back to your hand. It's so hard to play against.
The most annoying part of that card to me is that it works so much better when you're ahead. It's one of those cards where if you're a bit ahead and have some board presence and your opponent doesn't have a lot of comeback potential, it just closes the door and says you're never, ever going to catch up.
Never. Unless you have a Benja or something to get rid of an item.
A super frustrating card, which means it's probably pretty good. And 43.5% of you thought that this was the best item from Shimmering Skies.
Yeah, and I don't think you're wrong. I find it to be a frustrating item, but I definitely think it's strong, and I think it'll stay in the game for a long time. Certainly surpasses all of its other Chromicon brothers and sisters.
Amethyst Chromicon was a bit behind at 30% of the vote. An interesting card for hyper-aggro strategies for sure. I'm a big fan of the Queen Sensor Core. That's one of my favorite cards from the set. It's not always the most powerful, but when it works very, very well. And I love its kind of dual-faceted nature where it's gaining you lore or drawing you cards depending on what you need in any given situation.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with the Sensor Core with Princess decks and Queen decks in particular.
Sensor Core would have gotten my vote. We, of course, abstain, being kind of affiliated with the awards to some degree.
Indeed. We're like the Academy, but if the Academy didn't vote. If the Academy didn't do what the Academy does, that's us.
We're like the guy who sends out the envelopes telling people that the Academy Awards are happening.
Yes. And then he also doesn't vote.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris.
And my name is Savvy.
We are from the Uninkable podcast, and tonight we have the honor of announcing the next award.
The Mickey Pretzel Award for the best common card.
Have you ever had a pretzel, Bartleby?
A pretzel, yes. I believe I have had a sort of German twisted sourdough knot on my travels through the dark forest.
Interesting. Do you think Bartleby's really ever had a pretzel?
He seemed to be able to recite the characteristics of a pretzel as if he read it in a book.
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced he's actually had a pretzel before.
I wouldn't put it past him. I'm not sure he goes in for finger foods, I don't know if he would ever touch his food with a hand.
I don't think he does. He probably ate whatever pretzel he had with a fork and knife.
That's the only circumstances in which he would eat a pretzel. Thanks to the Uninkable podcast, a really cool podcast.
Definitely worth a listen, folks. All of these content creators tonight have so many different perspectives on the game. They're all worth a listen. They're all worth a follow.
And the nominees are Cogsworth, Luminary Watchman, Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom, Clarabelle, Clumsy Guest, Vision of the Future, and Mickey Mouse, Food Fight Defender.
And the winner of the Mickey Pretzel Award is Vision of the Future.
Yeah, big congratulations to Sapphire players everywhere.
Hey.
Wow, Vision of the Future.
Vision of the Future is awesome. We need to add a category probably for the next S'more Awards for underrated and overrated cards. This was absolutely, to me, the most underrated card of Shimmering Skies.
I think that it still is.
Nobody was talking about this card. It got completely overlooked, and then it became an absolute staple in many Sapphire decks.
Yeah, I would say it still is underrated because no one's telling anybody that they underrated it. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I've got to put Vision in the deck. Yeah, none of you thought it was cool.
I remember when I was showing a bunch of people the Sapphire Steel list that I was playing, one of the repeated questions I got was, do you really need 4 Vision of the Future? And I was always like, yes, absolutely. I would never, ever run fewer than 4 of that card in a deck without a whole new world. It completely made that archetype possible in my mind.
Yeah, it's incredibly good.
It's also the card that I think took Ruby Sapphire to the next level. That deck could often brick, right? And not find its key pieces, not find its Hiram, not find its Fishbone Quill, not find the clear it needs in any given moment. And it just added so much consistency. I think it's a card that we can expect to see in many Sapphire decks going forward.
Yeah, it'll last. It'll last long into the future. That's just my vision for it.
It took home 39.5% of the vote, so a really solid win.
Closely followed by Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom with 32.7% of the vote.
Yeah, it was kind of a 2-horse race there, pretty close. And then the other 3 cards kind of split the rest of the vote. But in 5th place, weirdly, was Clarabelle, Clumsy Guest, and that's a card that saw so much play.
Well, she's unassuming. And people probably forget that she exists. She's not quite as glitzy as the Vision of the Future.
I feel like she's a more important card in better decks than Cogsworth or Mickey Mouse Food Fight Defender. But those 2 cards got twice as much of the vote. So interesting.
You never know what's going to happen.
The voters are never wrong.
Indeed.
Oh, here we go again.
Hello, Lumineers. My name is Dick Burns from the Forbidden Mountain and Lore Chronicles. I'm honored to present the Puffy Pizzarizo Award for Worst Card. The nominees are as follows. Half Hexwell Crown, Ulf, Mime, Tanana, Wise Woman, Royal Guard, Bovine Protector, and Steel Chromicon. And the Puffy Pizzarizo Award goes to... Steel Chromicon! Congratulations to Steel Chromicon on being the winner. Well, in this case, loser.
Thanks to Dick Burns from the Forbidden Mountain. Yes, that is his name. He also has a podcast called The Lore Chronicles. So he's a wonderful member of the community. You've probably seen him around some of the DLCs if you've been to any. A really, really great player and a fun follow on social media, too.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
Ooh, this was a close race.
Wow.
The closest race of the S'more Awards.
Yeah, it was almost half Hexwell Crown.
Half Hexwell Crown took home 33.3% of the vote, and Steel Chromicon took home 37.4%. So very, very close between those 2 options. People are not digging these 6-cost items this set.
No, they are not. And they shouldn't.
I really hope that when the Hexwell Crown is perhaps made whole, that it has the same effects but costs half as much, because then it would be really good.
Yes, I agree. I think that personally I would have voted for the half Hexwell Crown just because I feel so cheated by it. I was so excited for that, and it's a part of the story of Lorcana and that lore, and it's like a big piece of the Ursula's Return story and all this jazz, and then we get it and it's like terrible.
It's probably the most significant Lorcana-specific card.
Right.
That there's been. It refers only to something in the world of Lorcana. It's been mentioned in dozens and dozens of cards and continues to be an important plot device. Spoiler alert, if you haven't finished the Illumineers quest, don't listen for the next 30 seconds, skip ahead. But it was the prize card in the Illumineers quest.
Yes.
It had such a prominent place in the world of Lorcana, and to see it reduced to a card that absolutely cannot see play is sad.
It is sad. And Steel Chromicon also is bad. To bring us back to our point here.
Super bad. You know what else is bad? Tanana, Wise Woman, is a really terrible card.
Yeah, she deserved the nomination. I think she's so terrible, though, that she didn't even get votes. Like, she's so terrible that she's not even the most terrible. She's just terrible.
I don't know. I don't know if I followed that logic, but I'm going to go with it.
It's just that at least people notice the Half Hexwell Crown and the Steel Chromacon as being bad cards, right? Like, Tanana doesn't even... Nobody even knows she exists.
It slipped under the radar. Here's what I need you to do if you don't think that Tanana is an awful card. I need you to go and read the Amber Snow White that costs 2, the inkable one. Read what that card does. Look at her stats. Then go and look at Tanana Wise Woman. Look at her stats and what she does.
Yeah, it's tough.
I can't imagine a circumstance unless like Mentor. Is she a mentor? She
I don't
must
think so.
be. Really?
Maybe she is. Maybe she is.
Is she not a mentor? Oh my goodness, we have to look this up right now. Typing it in really quickly here, and Tanana is not a mentor. So there's literally no reason to ever play this card. Like, it's awful in limited. Like, the best that you can say for her is that if you put her on the board, she could quest for 1. Like,
and I think the best that you could say is that the art is really pretty.
That's true. And it's such an amazing character, like a vital part of Brother Bear. Deserves so much more. Absolutely got shafted.
Yeah, and shafted from being the worst as well. So here we are.
Royal Guard Bovine Protector, of course, isn't a good card, but it is hilarious. Same thing with Ulf. There's flavor there, so there's merit to the card beyond them being playable in a constructed format.
Yes, Steel Chromacon makes us feel nothing. Half Hexwell Crown makes us feel nothing.
Half Hexwell Crown, I think for me, takes the cake for the reasons that we mentioned, that it should have been good.
I agree. But, as we just said, the voters are never wrong.
The voters are never wrong. Y'all have spoken. Steel Chromacon really stinks. Oh, here we go again.
Hello, my fellow Illumineers. I am RMB, aka Senior Bald, from Labyrinth TCG and one half of the Lab Rats, and it is my honor to present the Pickle Award for the doofiest card that doesn't make sense.
RMB, another one of the heroes of the Sapphire Steel archetype.
Curse you, RMB!
He's so good, though.
No, so much fun, and thank you so much for coming to join us tonight at these exciting S'more Awards with the Pickle Award, no less.
Tonight's nominees are Pridelands Jungle Oasis, Earth Giant Living Mountain, Who's With Me, Royal Tantrum, and Food Fight. And the Pickle Award goes to... Food Fight! Gorsh! Who ordered the upside down cake?
I don't know why we're celebrating throwing food about. There's nothing more uncouth than such behavior.
And from Mickey Mouse himself.
I don't think they understand the Pickle Award.
I don't think they do either. It's a doofy card. It's just like a doofy card. It's like, why is this even in here? That's so doofy.
And it represents the fact that you can just buy a pickle on Main Street in Disney World.
Yeah, and you walk by it and you go, who would buy a pickle? It's so doofy. But once in a while, a pickle's just right. You just need a doofy pickle on Main Street once in a while. It's not going to be every day.
The voters were split on this one. This was super close. The winner, Food Fight, took home 28.8% of the vote, but 26% of the vote went to Earth Giant.
Earth Giant is tricky.
Definitely a doofy card.
Definitely doofy.
It's like a good body, and then it kind of gives your opponent some cards.
Yeah.
And then Food Fight is like, I could do so many more useful things with all of these characters. Why do I want to exert them to do 1 damage when they probably have more than 1 strength?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Food Fight to me has the same kind of an effect as a Half Hexwell Crown in that there's so many Food Fight themed cards in Shimmering Skies that you are hoping that the card that is titled Food Fight would do more, would be cooler, would have a game-changing kind of effect, more similar to a Grab Your Sword or Be Prepared.
I am excited that a food-themed Lorcana card took home an award.
Oh, and most definitely, we should not underestimate that. It is a big deal here.
And I wonder if there could be a use for this card, like maybe with a board-wide readying effect. That could be interesting. You could use your characters to quest, ready them all, use Food Fight, and then ping them all for 1 damage.
Oh, it's the Golden Smorgasbord Award. I'm so excited for this one.
Those are the guys from the Rules of Villainy podcast.
I was lucky enough to play against one of the close friends of the Rules of Villainy team at the DLC, and they gave us these adorable stickers. A great channel to check into, great content creators.
Good evening, fellow villains. I'm Villain Vince.
I'm Villain Andy.
And I'm Brad, the mayor of Lorcana.
We're the hosts of Rules of Villainy, and we're proud to present the Golden Smorgasbord Award for the best deck.
And the nominees are
Boomy Steel, an aggressive steel song.
Skies, Sapphire Steel, No Whole New World.
Zan's DLC Vegas winning Emerald Steel.
Sailors, Sisu on Ice, Ruby Sapphire.
The old-fashioned Ruby Amethyst.
And the winner is...
Zan's DLC Vegas winning Emerald Steel.
Let's go!
Let's go! Congratulations.
Congrats to Zan Zayed.
Well, the deck that won the last 2 DLCs continues its hot streak and takes home the award here. You don't like playing against discard?
I don't like Emerald Steel.
You know, it's so funny. The 2 DLCs you've been to, you've taken decks where you're like, as long as I don't have to face Emerald Steel too much, as long as I don't have to face Bucky, and then, as long as I don't have to face discard, I'll be okay. My deck has pretty good matchups into the other things. And then you end up facing discard in like 3/4 of your rounds.
I jinx myself, dear listener. I jinx myself. And then I play against one Emerald Steel deck and I get so mad that it even exists. And here it is getting a S'more award.
It is a really good deck.
I know.
Its conversion rate was really high.
I know.
It does really powerful things. It's resilient.
Everybody likes it. It's a good deck, blah, blah, blah.
It also has a really cool story, right? Where it was completely under the radar up until the Las Vegas DLC and then came out of nowhere. And all of a sudden it became one of, if not the best deck in the game.
And it is really cool to see that Bucky being, essentially moot didn't affect the strength of the deck and maybe in fact made it stronger, addition by subtraction perhaps. It is cool to have a boogeyman of a deck existing in the Lorcana world. It's fun to have something to fight against and to try to, optimize your plays against a certain deck that maybe you have an unfavorable matchup into. I am happy that it exists and it deserves the award.
I think one of the things I really enjoy about discard decks existing in the game, I know this is going to be a kind of controversial opinion, but I think that playing against discard actually allows for different kinds of skill expression for the opponent. So I think there are decks where when you are playing them, you have a lot of agency. And then there are decks when you play against them, you don't have a lot of agency. So like something like Hyper Aggro, for instance, doesn't allow for a ton of agency from your opponent. It's just a question of like, are you going to get there or not? I think sometimes Ruby Sapphire doesn't allow for as much agency from your opponent. With discard, the way that the games shake out, you're always making decisions about not only which card to ink, but if you can afford to ink based on what discard options might be available to your opponent. It does feel like one that you need to practice playing against more.
Definitely. You can't just wander into a DLC or a set champ and never have ever seen discard in play, because it's a very particular game style.
It's a little bit counterintuitive because it does seem to be taking options away from you, like you have to lose your cards out of your hand that might offer different kinds of counterplay. But what it's really doing is saying you have to make constant value decisions, value judgments about which cards you can afford to lose or not. Luckily, there aren't too many cards, I'm thinking of Ursula, Deceiver being the exception, that allow you to look at your opponent's hand and get rid of a specific card. You have the option to discard certain cards. So it's an interesting deck. It's dynamic, and I think it's a worthy victor in this particular category. It took home 31.7% of the vote, edging out Sailor's Sisu on Ice build at 24.8%.
Yeah, well-deserved. A well-deserved win. Congratulations, Green Steel.
Sapphire Steel, the deck that is near and dear to my heart, finished in last place with 10.3%. And let me tell you, Sapphire Steel, that is no fifth place kind of deck. That is a good deck.
You're right. It's a 6th place kind of deck.
You jerk.
It's time for the next award.
Hello, I'm Chris, aka Questing for Lore from Lorcana Chats. I'm here to present the Victoria and Alberts Award for Excellence for the fanciest card.
Chris is one of our first really devoted listeners to Smorkana. He was a big supporter of ours and had us on his own podcast, Lorcana Chats, which is really, really cool. He does in-depth conversations with lots of different content creators, so be sure to check out that channel for sure.
The nominees are Minnie Mouse, Drum Major, Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves, Donald Duck, Pie Slinger, Belle of the Ball, and Snow White, Fair-Hearted. And the Victoria and Alberts Award for Excellence goes to Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves. Gotta love that card draw.
Woo! Yeah, Clarabelle.
Clarabelle smashed it down, 51% of the vote.
She is fancy.
She is very fancy. The voters think that she's fancy. She was up against some fancy competition, too.
She was up against Minnie Mouse.
She was up against Donald Duck Pie Slinger.
I know.
Donald Duck Pie Slinger.
And Belle.
Donald Duck Pie Slinger.
And Donald Duck Pie Slinger.
And Donald Duck Pie Slinger, who has a pan on his chest for armor.
Yes,
He's got a chef's toque. He's flinging meatballs. He has an enchanted. He has multiple abilities. He's floodborn. He's a knight. Okay?
He's a knight.
He is a knight of food, a knight of Lorcana, a knight of the world, a valiant and exquisite fancy duck.
Yes, he is beautiful. I don't know that he's the fanciest. I'd have to agree with the listeners here that Clarabelle is perhaps the fanciest card.
I'm not going to disagree. As we've said, the voters are always right. I would just like to say that Clarabelle's victory means all the more having defeated such a worthy opponent in Donald Duck Pie Slinger.
Yes, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And Donald Duck deserves his own awards.
He deserves every award.
I know.
Every award. But we don't need to bore people with that. Like, people understand Donald Duck's place in the pantheon. And so we need to give everybody else a chance. And the voters, I think, quite respectfully gave him 15% of the vote. Good for 3rd place. A worthy finish, a fine finish for a duck such as he.
Respectable. Clarabelle got 51% of the vote.
Smashed it down.
Yep.
We have an enchanted Clarabelle.
We sure do.
That is a fancy cow.
Woo!
She is attractive.
That glittery green dress.
Yeah, hot stuff.
Yeah, that gets you going.
Yep. One hot cow.
One hot, fancy cow.
As the small awards come to a close, may I remind you to go forth into your tournaments and release events with grace and dignity. Always dignity.
Well said, my friend. And as we go into this final award, may I also say it has been a true honor and pleasure to share the stage with you this evening.
Hello, I'm Sarah, the Lorcana librarian from the Lore Library podcast and from Team Labyrinth, here to present the Golden Dole Whip Float Award for the best card.
She has a really cool podcast called The Lore Library, where she does interviews with community members, and she is really plugged into the scene out on the West Coast. So I'm so glad that she was able to present tonight.
And the nominees are Daisy Duck, Donald's Date, Elsa, the Fifth Spirit, Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves, Tipo, Growing Sun, and Pete, Games Referee. And this award goes to the card that's as refreshing as a Dole Whip float on a long park day. Pete, Games Referee.
Pete is a very good card.
Pete is a very good, consistently good, pretty flexible card.
That makes a lot of sense that 43.2% of the voters thought he was the best card from Shimmering Skies.
Yes. He beat out Daisy Duck by 13.1% of the vote. She got 30.1%.
Elsa the Fifth Spirit was just behind that. And then Clarabelle and Tipo were down at the bottom of the results, but are still very good cards.
I'm not surprised that Pete came away with the win here. I saw a lot of Pete in a lot of different decks at the DLC. I played Pete.
So did I.
Yeah, he was great.
A very good card.
Yep, he made his way into a lot of discard decks as well.
It's cool that Pete hasn't been frustrating for people, I think. I think there's a danger when you print a card like that and you kind of turn off a whole subset of types of cards that people could get frustrated and say like, well, like, oh, none of these cards matter anymore. Songs don't matter and actions don't matter. But because of his stat line and the ink color that he's in, you don't see him in every deck, which is good. And I also think that he helped drive out some of the most annoying decks to play against. Like Emerald Amber discard is, I think, the most frustrating for any casual player to play against. And he really hurt that deck's efficacy. So he, rather than being annoying himself, helped curb some of the annoying playstyles.
I agree. I think he's a fairly fair card when you remember that he's been played. He's great. It's hard with him sometimes. I know opponents often forget, or even the person who played him often forget, because his ability is so good and lasts for the whole next turn. So he is great. He is great. And as you said, I think he is fair, and I think he's going to see a lot of play for eons to come.
The card that came in 5th here, Tipo, it's really interesting. I mean, Tipo is played at 4 copies in one of the best decks consistently, right? Like you see 4 Tipo in every single Ruby Sapphire deck, and that was the 5th best card of the set. So there were some real powerhouse cards in this category.
Definitely.
This brings the 3rd quadannual Small Awards to a close. Thank you so much for your attendance this evening.
It was a glorious evening, and many worthy cards were rewarded for their diligent efforts this Shimmering Skies set. On behalf of Cogsworth's Finishing School, enjoy your evening.
We look forward to our next encounter. Good night.
Adieu.
That was so much fun.
Wow, what a great night.
I love the S'more Awards.
Oh, me too.
It's so fun seeing everybody. It was so cool to have the guest presenters.
Yeah, it was so fun getting all glitzed up, having a bunch of pals join us this time. It was a blast. I can't wait to do it again.
How about a little nightcap on some champagne?
Ooh, yes, please. Let's pop that bubbly.
All right, here we go. Let's just take a look here. Wait a second, there's something in here. Let me try to get this out of the bottle. It's a champagne-y dream card.
Wow!
Ooh, a celebration of sorts.
Yes, it is a very fancy dream card this week. And with a little bet you didn't know about this fact attached to it.
Ooh, cool.
So when selecting this beautiful bottle of champagne for this evening, we were trying to think of other significant awards in Disney lore. And we remembered that Beauty and the Beast was the first ever animated feature film to be nominated for Best Picture.
So our dream card is Beast, Prince Adam.
Yes, Prince Adam does not have his own card in Lorcana yet, which is kind of crazy.
This is a 1-cost, inkable, amber card with 5 strength, 5 willpower, quests for 2. He's a storyborn prince. You heard that right. 1-cost, inkable, 5/5 quests for 2. Where are we going with this?
Well, he has Shift 1, Pay 1 to play this on top of one of your characters named Beast.
You might notice a couple of words are missing in that text. His first ability is, the spell is broken, which says you must shift this character to play him.
Yes.
So there's no you may on that shift ability.
No, he has to be shifted in order to be played. His second ability is Castle Restored. When you play this character, you may play a location and an item from your discard pile for free.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Super cool. So this is Prince Adam shifting out of his beast form into his human form, and as he does so, the castle is restored around him. So you get to grab a location out of your discard pile, grab an item out of your discard pile, play them for free, and all of a sudden your board is restored to glory.
Yes, he is a beautiful card. I think this would be such a blast to shift him onto any beast, if only for the thematic purposes. It's so cool. The beast transforms. You get to transform him in the game. That would be incredible.
Up to now, all of the shift characters have been Floodborn. This is a Storyborn shift character.
About time.
Could be really, really cool. So really thematic, a celebration of Beauty and the Beast's place in awards lore. This has good stats. It would be very thematic. It is a legendary card as we've designated it for our 39th dream card.
Yes, 39 dream cards. We're almost at a place where we can start making a deck out of all of our dream cards.
Because we've designed a few cards in a few of the episodes, like we've had episodes where we designed 3 or 4 cards, we're approaching 50 made. So we've made like a quarter of a set just in dream cards.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too.
I wish that we could have shown them to Ryan Miller when we met him.
I know. Next time we find him, we're going to bring up our little spreadsheet.
We'll be like, Ryan, can you look at we make cards too. Like, do you think these are cool?
Do you like them?
Do you like our cards?
Please tell us you like them.
Also hire me.
Wow, well, I can't wait to get home and take off these heels and take my hair down. You can take off that sweaty jacket and tie.
But before we head out, we have some important business to attend to. If you voted for the S'more Awards, then you were entered in a giveaway. We are giving away a first chapter starter deck, courtesy of Superfan Jimmy.
Whoop, whoop.
We have a green Lorcana pin, courtesy of our friend Pete.
Ooh.
We have a Rapunzel pin. We have some event promos. We have stickers.
Whoop, whoop.
We have basically a big ol' Lorcana care package that we're going to send your way.
Yes. Can't wait.
We have all of your names/emails entered into wheelofnames.com. We're going to give this wheel a spin and see who the winner is. Here we go.
Here we go.
Fiobos. Fioatos. Fiobos.
Wow, okay.
All right, Fiobos. Fiobos is in the New England Discord, I know.
Yep.
And I know that they listen to the podcast because they've reacted to some of the episodes in the past. So that's really cool to see a real fan win the giveaway.
Yeah, we love to see it. Congratulations on your super mega Golden S'more Award giveaway.
We'll be in touch to get your shipping information very, very soon. I usually like to let the episode sit for a few days because, if they should listen and hear it, then it's so exciting, right? I would imagine, right?
Yeah, that's way more fun.
Yeah, so we usually let it sit for a couple of days to see if they message us first.
Yeah.
What's next on our menu?
Wow. Okay, we have a lot coming up. Azurite Sea is on the horizon.
Next week is going to be our Azurite Sea preview episode.
Yes, it is. So this week we're going to be reading up. We're going to be picking our picks for what we think are going to be the most exciting cards in this next set, so we can chat about them with you.
That's going to be episode 40.
Oh.
Until then, be sure to follow us on social media and email us at s'morecon@gmail.com if you have any questions.
And until next time, everybody, keep on snacking.